every time I have to mute every time. I have to make sure that's what the echo is. Thank you, Nate. That's what the echo is. And that sucks because I put a lot of work in those intros. That intros have been throwing me off YouTube, and I can't get them to actually play without it echoing. And that is actually why I wanted to stream today. Actually, to be really frank, I didn't want to stream today. I got up this morning. It was about dawn, and wasn't really tired, and I opened up the YouTube to watch something, and I started watching the live trucker stuff in Ottawa, and it was moving. It's always moving, but it's like -20 there, and one guy's walking around the street, live streaming it, and you're seeing a lot of people have gone home, but you're also seeing just brutal wind, just some of the worst weather. I mean, it's probably normal weather, but it's like really, really bad weather. And they're bringing in scab tow trucks now to remove everyone. And you can just tell that the energy is down. The ice rink, they had an ice rink out there for a while, is down. It's dwindling. The human strength that is being displayed there, I should say, is dwindling, and that is felt deep in my heart, because especially noticing how cold it was, and the wind just ripping everyone's tent down, freedom tent that they had set up, all the other stuff. And then you go on Instagram and you're seeing this faction of people that insist that anyone in Ottawa is gay, and they're spelling it like they think they're hip. They're like, well, we're going to call it gay, but we're going to rebrand it as GAE now, or GAYE. And you're watching people shit on other people for actually trying something. And you're watching that process, and you're trying to figure out, fuck, whose side am I on? Whose side am I on? And it's part of the mechanics of a tribe. More importantly, it's part of the mechanics of being down. I want you to know that pranic weather-wise, right now, I would call this a downtrend. Certainly, in my own personal life, there's other things that, like with the YouTube being shut down, so you could say that, maybe I'm only just seeing a small pocket of it. And there's a lot of really awesome stuff happening, but chronically, there is such a suppression on the human spirit right now. And it's coming from the very people that are you thought were actually in the corner of the human spirit. But this is the beautiful thing about having these things unwrap the truth of where everyone around you stands, including yourself. And you realize that you've aligned with people that are actually kind of like slavery. And you can try and explain that to them, but it doesn't matter, because they think that all of human action is in what you claim you intended to be, right? This is part of how we don't own our energy, is we insist, well, I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to shit on that. I didn't mean to call anyone that got out of their house and was like tired of the mandates. I didn't mean to call them gay. I didn't mean to ridicule that and create tribe among other people by denigrating that movement. That wasn't my intention, is what it is. My intention is for us to improve our position, and to improve the position requires me shitting on these people and this trucker movement. And to me, that's a pranic down, because you really are looking around at your brethren going, fuck, this dude is not actually wanting to help. he actually wants to suppress, and he has the intention that what he's doing is cool because everything else is gay somehow. Posting a photo of humanity embracing what's going on, and there's like hot tubs bubbling in front of the truckers, and that's a human spirit. That's a fire that you can gather around. That is humanity saying we are not a virus, and that we will survive through brethrenship. And that is like a 50-50 split on Instagram whether or not that's actually sodomy. And you're watching factions of people that have decided that what's more important is that no one has anything that can be called sodomic or gay-y. Because if someone in my tribe calls it gay-y, then that's really more important. Because shitting on human energy, that's the antithesis of sheep, is helping. And when you start to poke at these people, they come back and say, the only answer is building community. I'm like, well, then why are you shitting on community? Well, you don't understand. I see both sides. Well, what is the other side? What is the other side of homoerotic apathy disguised as homesteading? Disguised as, well, the key is to get back to the soil, so I'm going to go to the hardware store and buy a shovel from Lowe's and go back home and listen to everyone point at how gay-y everything is? This is what I mean by down. Pranic down. That's all. And when you wake up and you see that after watching these guys in Ottawa, man, that's so amazing what they've been able to pull off. Seriously, amazing. And I get, as we've explained the mechanics of all this, that there's going to be a psyop front to everything, that it would be government's job to try and claim the front of that Alex Jones shows up at gun rallies and pretends that he was the organizer of it. That literally happens every time. But no, when it happens here, when it's negative 20 degrees and I don't want to fucking go outside because I'd rather just call it all gay-y, then conveniently all that shit's out the window. And that's a pranic down. It's a pranic down. And it's one of the reasons why I knew I had to stream. I had to stream because I wanted you to see what pranic down feels like and why it's such a golden opportunity to do something. You will make the most ground during a pranic down. And when I say most ground, I don't necessarily mean for the world. I mean for yourself. And when you can find these opportunities where you're like, holy shit, this is like a lot of pranic down, and you can show up for yourself there, that is the same thing as like defending the word ego in public. It's the same thing as watching someone who you thought was on your side call truckers gay-y, looking at them in the eyes and say, can you tell me what your idea is again? Because so far I hear your idea is to call it gay. Is that the new Aquarian method now? Is that how we're dawning a new world? Is that how you're sticking it to the man? This kind of energy work shows you who you are and who everyone else is. And if you quit during a pranic down, that's your resiliency. Your resiliency is not how much you tell me you're going to be resilient when you're feeling up. Your resiliency is measured in what is your action when you're down. What is your action when it's negative 20 degrees outside? Do you be honest and say, fuck, I wish I could be there. I can't believe what you guys are doing. Or I'm nervous as fuck about what's going to happen. And me going there just sounds crazy, but I'm so glad you guys are doing it. Or I love how there's a psyop and these organic people have decided, fuck your psyop, this is what we're doing. And that every implant that went into there with a Nazi flag or whatever other kind of thing we want to pretend is the big boogeyman symbol nowadays, that there's videos, hours and hours of videos of them scraping the ice off of their veteran memorials. But that's the psyop. That's the psyop if you want to sit inside and claim, well, I went to Lowe's and bought a shovel, so I'm already doing what I'm doing. And I'm ordered this stuff off Amazon from this other company that's going to help me do this. And the whole time I'm wondering, How does composting someone else's effort actually make yours look better? How does shitting on that make your position look better? Why would you even invest the time in, like, you know what, I need to feel better about what I'm doing, so I'm going to just smear some of my poo on everything else around? It's showing you the true life energy. And there's been some big debates even not even, but in our community too, which I find healthy. I find myself asking some of my viewers, can you please help me compassionate this other side? Because I want to compassionate it. I want to know what is the constructive quality of this. That what is the underlying plan that's saying, so first we ridicule, and then it's like the underpants gnomes, right? It's like, well, first we collect underpants. So yeah, first we ridicule, we call it gay, and then after everyone's calling it gay, then we win, because then we're crushing it. Then everything's happening now. And the same thing is happening now in D.C. That there's Albany groups aligning up to this. There's underpass parties that are taking place, but it's all by Freemasons. Because you know how the Freemasons are. They're going to want to control that underpass. You know, it's got 2 concrete pillars. There's 2 towers right there. Come on, every road comes in. Come on, James, it's a trap. I can't believe that you wouldn't fall for this. James, I can't believe that you'd fall for this silly thing and want to drive out in the negative 20 degree temperatures and stand underneath an overpass like some Masonic shill. The prana economy's there. And it's a current that runs underneath all these rational bullshit excuses that we tell each other. We means me too. You don't think I know this about myself? How do you think I talk about this? It's because I can look at myself in the mirror and go, oh, that makes me very uncomfortable. And that's when you're down. The mechanics of down is the greatest opportunity for growth, for insight, because you're already uncomfortable. Things are already uncomfortable. It's the perfect time. Perfect time to rip out the cabinets. Perfect time to say, what the fuck is actually going on here? You know? I'm under the impression that by keeping all these things in this drawer, I'm magically fixing something. But maybe that's not actually what I'm doing. Maybe I'm just covering things up. As we've said before, there's no such thing as an organic movement that can reach the national stage without an Alex Jones stepping out in front and saying, this is me. I did this. Not once. Nor is there an Alex Jones who says, we're going to start a gun rally, and the next thing you know, all these other people are doing the same. That was never Alex Jones's movement. Never. It wasn't on the beginning, and it wasn't on the end. You know whose it is? It's the prana of the people that are involved. That's who the movement is. Who are the people there? And where are they pliable? And where are they not? That's the force of all pranic energy. Now, you are probably learning like I am through your whole life that who you ally with requires a certain delicacy to how much you blend in with their light. What I'm trying to convey is that you will find yourself overly allied in a group and then suddenly find yourself in isolation because you disagree about something that feels pretty fundamental. And so many of you will end up over-trusting people, groups, politics, bands, fashion, and you will over-adopt something, and then you will end up kind of going, oh, I wish I would have pulled that back. And you wish you would have pulled it back because you're vulnerable when you start to find that betrayal. I'm using the word betrayal here because that's just what it feels like. I'm not saying that it actually is that way. But if you do not have enough electricity, it's very easy to render it as betrayal. And so you feel vulnerable and you feel like that you missimulated something, which makes you less confident, which squeezes that polyvagal nerve. So the entire time while we're here in this down, the mechanics of this down allows you to feel the fidelity of your trust, of your alliances, and sort of decide what's the healthiest thing for you. People do this to me all the time. They'll follow my work for a while, and then a situation will come up where they feel betrayed because our loyalties are no longer aligned. And it bums me out, of course, But also it's good vitriol because it makes me reevaluate my position and, more importantly, start to count just how expensive my position is. Because I would say to you that the beliefs that you have are only the beliefs that you are willing to own the consequences for having. And if you're not willing to hold and own the consequences for holding a belief that you in fact do not actually hold that belief, you simply want to feel like you do, or more importantly, you want to be seen as if you do. That being seen in the light of someone who holds that belief is a kind of energy too. And so mostly what happens in this movement, in all movements, is that you see a rush of people that are constantly on the line, teetering between allegiance and consequences. Allegiance and consequences. And a lot of these people simply migrate. They just simply move back and forth. That if the temperature is negative 20, then it's gay. But if it's 70 degrees outside and sunny and there's Zuki dogs there, then it's awesome. Then it's worthy and we should all support it. These fair weather friends are intrinsic to nature itself. And really what you're looking at is more of an autonomous comfort bot that you thought was a friend. It's kind of like that Twitter bot or any kind of social media bot that basically is following you around, giving you a thumb up, and it's too expensive for you to doubt that that wouldn't be an actual person. And they're everywhere. And when you start to poke questions about vaccines, let's say on Twitter, you start to get the pushback from these bots sometimes. And hey, I'm guilty. I've done this. That's how I learned about them. You'll have a 3-day spanning argument with someone before you figure it out. Holy fuck, this is probably a robot. And we never do that to who's agreeing with us. We never do that. There's no reason to. We would only check the ones that are against us, right? We would only check that. And this shows us our own strength, too. It's our own resolve. How hypocritical are we when it comes time to check our own ship? And that's what I mean by the mechanics of down. It would be very hypocritical for me not to stream today. It would go completely antithetical to everything that I try and work for. I feel like that it would be just as bad as calling the truckers gay, or just as bad as creating a whole politic around anyone who doesn't like what I like is a sodomite. Now, a lot of people are saying it's important that we find unity right now, but I don't actually agree with that. I think what we need to find is authenticity, not unity. And the authenticity really is going to be for the people that like to migrate back and forth between the ridge, right? Between the benefits, the prana, and the consequences of a belief. And the consequences are real, they're legitimate, they are expensive, and I don't blame people that are suddenly like, I don't want to hold this belief right now, it's too hot. It's too hard. There are moments like that where it feels that way. I felt that way. I feel that way with the Confederate flag. Watching Ottawa, and I'm watching people that were shooting down a dude that had a Confederate flag. I'm also watching that Confederate flag, and you can see the creases in it. I know, shit, that thing's probably fresh out of a bag too, which means it's a plant. And that plant is deserving of being ostracized, but the real truth of the St. Andrew's Cross is actually in alliance with the Cherokee. But I cannot sit there and tell everyone in Ottawa, hey, you guys are fucking up. Here's actually what needs to happen. We need to have an information tent about the rebel flag. Right? That shit will never fly. It's not going to fly. And that's part of what I'm talking about when you measure your allegiances. Because when you find allies, it's important that you do not identify with the group. I want you to find solace. I want you to find warmth. I want you to find camaraderie. I want you to find tribe in the group. But I don't want you to identify with that group. When you start to identify with that group, it actually hurts the group. the group actually gets lazy. The group turns into sort of a hyena pit because everyone's kind of starting to rely on whether or not the group agrees. And so you let down your guard and you fall into this school of fish tactic thinking where what's right really is more about where the fish are pointing at the time. And there's really no measure to it. It's simply just a false conveyor belt that really just kind of spirals back into its own butthole. So it's not even really profitable. There's no wisdom in it. This is actually how the government runs now. And so a lot of these tribe ups lead to another form of government forming because so many people are relying on the warmth of the group to give them the comfort on the consequences of them holding a belief that's expensive. And sadly, that's a pretty good way to survive in this world if you're at man-bear-pig level. And that when you're running the man-bear-pig level gambit, you're going to have systems like that work. And so no matter how awesome, sexy, killer, inspiring, motivating, successful the tribe is, you betray the tribe by identifying with it. It's part of why we even use the word tribe. The tribe of one is very important. I say that a lot. I probably haven't said it in a while because of everything that's going on. But the tribe of one is really important because the concept of tribe of one stops that's gay right in its tracks. Because the first time it happens, the tribe of one turns around and looks and says, I see a prana economy of you profiting off shitting on something else. That doesn't seem like a very productive contribution right now. And that right from the get-go, before the telephone game starts, it's a one-on-one witness kind of plasma battle between those two different views. But when that first person's identified with the tribe, he doesn't. He's like, yeah, that's gay. And then the next person says the same thing. And then the next person says the same thing. And next thing, you're not actually, no one actually is tribe of one. No one is sovereign. And the weight of that snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it knocks the weak people down, which is why you can't have a tribe full of tribe of ones. Unless you're constantly shit testing everybody to make sure that they're truly sovereign. Having these ceremonies where we challenge each other to compassionate these different views is actually what makes the tribe stronger. But the tribe is never stronger as a tribe. The tribe is stronger as a conglomerate of people that do not allow kind of unproductive propaganda to be amplified. It's certainly still there because you want to witness that stuff. When someone in our tribe, I don't want to name names here, and it's not even that I think it's embarrassing. I think it's beautiful how it happened. Now, I could be mischaracterizing this altogether. But one of the members in our tribe was at first had that sour feeling about the Ottawa truckers. This is when they were on their way. And he felt his family really actually move and motivate to the truckers where they had never motivated before. And all the constant frequencies from him trying to educate them felt many times that it was coming on deaf ears until these trucker horns started. And now this man's watching his family respond to the trucker horns, and emotionally he's torn for a little bit. And one side of him is like, well, why the fuck weren't you listening to me? Well, the other side of him, it's like, wow, you're actually starting to see something. And he ends up being vitriolic between the utility of that. You know, do I want to encourage this kind of flow of energy from my family that it wasn't seeing before? And thereby maybe participate in something that's uncomfortable or maybe not even right. Maybe even a huge trap. And this is what I mean. It's not like there was a right answer that came before, and it was his job to choose it. And if he didn't choose it, then all of us were going to ridicule him. What was beautiful about it was he brought it to the Telegram group and says, this is where I'm at. This is right here's where I'm at. And that's the process of mitosis. And that mitosis would only be possible in a tribe of one. It's the only way that kind of alchemy would even work. So what you want, I think, is to surround yourself with tribe of oneers who just simply watch and see the value of that witness as it sears you. As you come forth and say, here is my mitosis. Here is my position. Where do I stand? Is it here or is it here? And that kind of respect for each other as we hold that witness field in that is what forges that tribe of one. It's what forges you as an individual. Hear me out. I am not interested in this fixing the world. I'm not interested in this overthrowing someone or hanging someone. No. I have a sole, selfish, singular goal, and it is for your personal electrical development. And I mean that. I have that. That is my goal. Because I know how generosity works. I know that when more people are sovereign, there is more of this tribe of one. And those collectors of energy are more generous by default. Why? Because they own themselves. They actually own something now. They own energy that can be distributed. They don't own a permission slip to be in a collective that tells you what is going to be gay-y today and what is going to not be gay-y. You have a challenging structure where you bring in your thoughts into the circle and watch them either survive or be destroyed by the scrutiny of witness. What is more motivational right now? What actions do you see around you are causing more flowers to bloom? And which actions around you are seeing more flowers to feel the expense of blooming? To feel the dangers of blooming? And I think when you start to look at the prana economy below the reasoning, below all the bullshit excuses, you really start to just see who's who and where they stand. And there's nothing wrong with that. This is how the garden works. Some of these flowers are Venus flytraps. Some of these things have very, very different goals than you or I. And we're not even in a real position to even say mine's better. All you know is mine's grounded or mine's not grounded right now. It's going to be based on how you feel. So it all comes back to tribe of one, baby. It always comes back to a tribe of one. Your core is all that's important right now. And I want you to think back to the Wetiko that spread across the Americas. And I want you to start to see that the people that did not survive what came, the changes that swept over this land, were not losers. This man, bear, pig wants survival. Natural man wants something more. And only you get to die with that or not. And you die with that by owning the consequences of every one of your beliefs. And the only time you really own those things is when you're down. Is when you feel the mechanics of down. How much are you willing to double down? And triple down, right? And you're going to run out of plasma at some point. It's possible that you're going to run out of plasma, that you can't 40% your way out of this. And it's making you choose, isn't it? Just like the rapture, just like the mitosis. And I've told you all, this mitosis is not finished. This separation between the wheat and the chaff is not over. And it will happen for us over and over on an individual level. I don't think it has anything to do with laws or government, Annie. That's not what I'm talking about. Maybe I misunderstood you, but I think that laws and government are simply a shadow reflection of the energy that's actually happening on top of that. We live in a country where we believe that the government has the best authority to decide who to kill or not. And it's weird because if you look at the energetic position of capital punishment next to the energetic position of abortion, both of those things seem to think that, well, only the state really has the moral authority to kill anyone or to decide if someone can be killed, only the state. And so no matter what side you're on, no matter if you're for government, no matter if you're against it, no matter if you see it as a political movement or a spiritual movement, no matter how you even look at it, as I said last week, at the end of the day, you're watching both poles say, my body, my choice, for the first time ever in history. They're both saying the same thing now. My body, my choice. The resistance to not own our body is the resistance to not own the consequences of owning our body. And it really comes into that healthcare thing too. It's the same kind of belief as universal healthcare. It's I don't want to talk you into any view. I'm just simply telling you that when you're watching certain energy transpire, and you're looking at the energy itself, and you can take the reasoning and the rationality, fine, you can still apply that if you want, but either way, you're just looking at what the energy is doing, and you're just, does it make you feel inspired, or does it make you feel mechanically down to watch that kind of inflammation, where the body's inflaming itself that way, because it just doesn't want to deal with what's really going on. I don't look at this like a victory defeat thing. I think that there's a lot of this. I think there's a lot of this kind of man bear pig that needs cleansing. That's why the world is the way it is. And that man bear pig isn't going away soon. So I don't think that I will necessarily see a victory or anything that looks like that. And that's actually forcing me to hold the consequences of my beliefs. It's making me stronger, not weaker. See, it really tells you something about how deeply you believe something if you know the entire time your side's probably not going to win. I don't actually believe that my side is going to win. That's the mechanics of down, is that this isn't a pretend. I'm not going to pretend we got this, we're going to fucking... No, I'm telling you, I don't think our side's going to win, and I think it's just as important that I keep believing these things and holding the consequences of my beliefs. I think that's just as important. And that whether or not we're going to win should not be a motivation on those beliefs. And that's where man bear pig is different. Because calling it gay is a way of winning. And if you're into victory, you're going to know exactly who jumps on that. You're going to know exactly who wants that, who wants the victory. I don't want the victory. I want the belief. I want to feel that belief authentically on every level. And there are flowers blooming right now. And I can't think of anything that's been happening that would make more flowers bloom than what occurred in Ottawa. I just can't. And if every single person who could give prana to it, because it's helping other flowers bloom, was to give prana to it, I think even more flowers would bloom. If you don't know what I mean their consciousness would open up. Their eye would open. The Trinity. They'd start to see things beyond survival, victory, and who's not going to ridicule me for standing here. So why would we not want to pollinate more flowers to open right now? And it's so easy. It's the difference between hitting thumbs up versus writing, "This is gay-y. I can't believe that you're falling for something so gay-y." It's amazing to watch that many calories go into destroying pollination and feeling righteous about it. Feeling like, yeah, no one knows what's going on but us. We're the only ones that know how to shit on things correctly. That's the thing that brings me down the most. It's not the parliament. It's not the apathy. It's the people that are purposely trying to constrict and choke the pollination while they're claiming to be wearing the codpiece of righteousness. That's the shit that brings me down. That's the shit that brings me down. If you want to know why I bring up Owen a lot, it's because the dude raised $400,000 on that position, on that belief, and he's crushing it right now. And there's a reason why that shit works. Because Man Bear Pig has so much gay-y inside him to cleanse, to insist is gone, to burn from his skin with a hot poker and say, "I have been redeemed because all those guys are gay-y." That's when you got to dig deep and you got to find that tribe one. And you got to realize you're not actually in this for the results. There is a sweet, sweet spot inside your resolve, inside your sanctity that you have right now. This isn't something that you will get later. It's something that you can hold right now. And it will light the way for others. It will light the way. People will see that in your spine. Let's see if we got any comments in. Whoops, I should be stopping that. Yep, no fair weather friends. I don't think you're going to be able to avoid it. I think you're always going to have fair weather friends. And I think the importance is to learn how to invest the proper amount. I think that's really what it comes down to. Learning how to invest the proper amount in any tribe is really more about learning how to to be permeable, not vulnerable. These are very different things. Permeable, not vulnerable. And so this is actually a gift too. The fair weather friends are a gift too, because they're showing you exactly how you should hold yourself for all things, enemy or friend. See what I mean? Enemy or friend. Because the sensitive empath type person, the person who if you've ever been accused of being codependent or empathic or sensitive or anything else like that, your problem is that you think it's generous by turning yourself vulnerable. That's your problem. You're under the impression that vulnerable means generous. And you say that because you think, well, my opponent values life, so if I was to give them my neck, they would understand that I was giving them the thing that I valued the most. In your mind, that makes sense. And you're like, well, yeah, of course, so that's how it works. No, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't, because your opponent doesn't value your life. Your opponent doesn't have the compassion bubble yet to see value outside of his own life. So the only value is on his own neck. So when you make yourself vulnerable to him or her, that doesn't actually breed trust. If anything, it probably looks like a fake out. They probably think you're trying to pull something on them, and then they'll start to justify why it's okay to go ahead and cut you. So these frenemies, as Johnny B said, these frenemies would allow you to find the permeability not the vulnerability. To remove the vulnerability and have that permeability. You can have a wonderful, awesome relationship with people that you're permeable to but not vulnerable to. You can. It requires the proper stance, though. And you got to get out of the gay thing and get into the tribal one. You're going to have to find yourself in that sovereignty and ground to that. Otherwise, you're going to feel guilty for shit and you're not going to know why. The people that are calling this gay are going to feel like shit all the time, but they're never going to know why. It's part of why they're shitting on other things. So see, this gay is actually something they're responding to a long time ago. It's that man-beard pig doesn't really know that it even has a shadow. It's convinced that there is no shadow. So you can't appeal to that. And you shouldn't. This is why you just hold your own field in a permeable state, not a vulnerable one. It's a very delicate balance. Very delicate. You don't want to ride the clutch, but you definitely want to know how to use it. Definitely going to want to know how to do that. Yeah, your antenna painting videos. That's the truth. Is yours, and it's going to have consequences. Your antenna has consequences. It does, and it should. It should have consequences. Look at you sticking that thing out there for all this energy to come into, right? It should have consequences that way. You know, I just want to say that for someone that's been thrown off YouTube, I have 100 witnesses right now. And that is really amazing. That should not be there. What I mean is when that goes down, this is part of it, guys. This is part of it. One of the main reasons why I didn't want to stream is because I figured if I'm lucky, I'll have 3 people watching on Rockfin and 22 that came through this alternative channels. Me doing this now is going to make me feel great months later, and I'm not going to know why. The exact same way calling this gay now is going to make them feel like shit 3 months later, and they're not going to know why. It's the same thing. And this is the time to bank it. You buy when the market's down, my friend. You invest when the market's down. It's the oldest trick in the book. And when you can start to look at these events as gifts of Baal, you can really start to profit from them. And go, yeah, things are down. Why am I kind of pumped that things are down? You start hearing yourself say that. You're like, yeah, things are down. Holy shit. I have an opportunity. What's going on? I have an opportunity. Well, what's your opportunity? I can be here for myself right now. What are you talking about? Yeah, things are down. Things are down. This is perfect. Be no different than you're out in public and someone shits on the ego and you've been waiting for this opportunity to defend the ego the whole time, and now someone says it and you're like, boom, now it's my chance. And your expectations of that event are alchemized like crazy in the minute. It's evaporated. The polarity of that switches. All your power is there. All of it. That's why you need the electricity essay. You gotta save that stuff. It'll make you more generous. It will do it. I like James. I don't know why. You like me serious because I don't say things are gay and shit on them months ago and then come in here and have to shed those calories, to shed that kind of prana subconsciously. That I'm not sending you the wrong text or the wrong voice inflection. That really is just the shedding of that shitty behavior a long time ago. And look, I could be a lot better. I get it. My show would be a lot better if I was like always doing that all the time. But this is part of the process. This is why I want us to learn. I want us to see how this goes. Look for these times when you're down and go, awesome. awesome, this is how I do it. Melanie wants me to call her right now, but I'm in the middle of the show. She may not know I'm streaming, so I'll call her later. This is the opportunity, and it's not going to be here again. And no, I'm not saying the answer is you have to get in your car and go somewhere. That's not it. But giving your prana, whether it's on social media or not, is a personal event. That you learning to resolve any kind of feelings that you have about the negative about that. It's a beautiful opportunity to look at that. And I'm not saying get rid of it. It could be a really valuable point. You could type something in here that would make me change and go, holy fuck. I hadn't thought of that. I'll tell you that when I've asked others to do it, they don't do it. They just say, because it's gay-y. And then they move on. And then you're trying to figure out what's gay, and you see, okay, well, there's a hot tub, and there's guys in the hot tub. So any guy in water with another guy is gay now. That's gay-y. And this is what I mean. If you laugh at that now, then everywhere you go, you now have to have a sodomy flag in your head whenever you see anyone swimming. Anyone. You're like, well, oh, there's two guys. That's gay. And if you see that and you remember that, believe it or not, you remember that, and you somatically have to say, no, that's not gay. That's not gay. And so you've just flipped. Now your red blood cells that were coming in saying, no, it's gay, are like, whoa, wait, it's not gay, it's not gay, it's not gay. And you end up with this turbulence. You end up with a fucked up signal. And you don't know why. And since you don't know why, you can't trust your own signals. So what do? You end up looking for the tribe to tell you, hey, what's gay today? What's gay? Tell me what's gay so I can do that. And you end up in the vortex. That's the lesson of the tribe. It's a beautiful lesson. That's why I's in the middle, man. I be, man. You were that tribe. You are that antenna. And when you become so genuine, something we're all working on, that when you come so genuine, people start liking you and they don't know why. Or even better, people like you and they do know why. Looking at you, Emil. That is a prana economy. And they don't like you. They like the electrons that are stuck to you. They like how they flow. They like how they smell. They like how they vibe. That's really what they like. And remembering that keeps you in that tribe of one. It does. That the same people that say they like me, if I was to come out tomorrow and say, that's gay, and that's gay, and that's gay, and that's gay, those same people would find it difficult to like me. Which means that what they like is not necessarily even what's inside me as much as what is emanating from me. That's what they're attracted to. And you can choose to be a collector of that, and you're going to find that your authenticity is the key. You're going to find that your authenticity, rather than your majority views that you take, is going to be a stronger collector of that electricity. That's why when you run into the circle and you say, hey, what's gay? Okay, that's gay. You don't really get a lot of, no one's like, oh, you're awesome now. It's more of like a little bump. It's like, okay, yeah, you said it's gay too. Gee, you must be one of us now. Versus if you come in there and you've got this genuine, authentic desire to own the consequences of your belief. When someone witnesses you, they're not witnessing something weak. They're witnessing something resilient, authentic, and golden. Well, thank you. Do you need me to stop and call you right now, Melanie? Because I will. Tell me if there's something really wrong. Let me know. But that's what I thought, is maybe you got cut off or something. So, yeah, let me know if I need to, because you would be the only person that would be like, hey, call me, and I would. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Thank you. So yeah, it's a good day to get some work done, isn't it? It's a great day to get some work done. I'm looking into the Albany thing. One of our own Annie hooked me up with some groups. You're not seeing these things on social media. You're not seeing the individuals organized. You're also not seeing that they're pulling in scabs, giant tow trucks into Ottawa. You didn't see that the police chief resigned. You didn't see that there's a witch hunt right now for anyone that actually donated money to the truckers. You don't see that because the same people that don't want this to happen are just like the ones calling it gay, and they're actually shutting it down off social media. And when you go on Twitter right now, none of this is trending, and this should be trending. You know what's trending is a movie. Jack Black, Citadel Scandal, Ukraine, and a former Minnesota police chief faces sentencing in a manslaughter case. You know why? Because Twitter thinks that the trucker strike is gay, and they don't want to push it. That's why. Breaking hundreds of police gathering to raid truckers. Yeah, it's been happening all day, all morning. And no one's going to talk about it. And not no one, but the people that could talk about it, they're not. They're not because the prawn economy's not there. I think it's part of why our little soiree that we have is so small. And that's what makes it so beautiful. Is because if you're gathered around this fire, you're probably not here to win. I mean, some of you are, and I'm sorry if I'm like really, really, really hurting the optimism of some of you. But I'm just being genuine. I find comfort knowing that not only do I not think I'm going to win, but it really feels good. It really feels good to be here and just to say I still believe this. And so if you're watching me, you probably feel that way too. And if you weren't and you really thought we were going to win, maybe this is the kick you needed to go join them, and that's okay. It would not be the first time that someone said I can't do this, right? Yeah, it's a good group of misfits, Alex. It is. It is. So, anyway, I've managed to stream every day since we've been thrown off. Also, really just want to give a shout out again to Rose 777 who reached out to me last night, wanting to get me on, get me some exposure. It was just really nice to be thought about that way. So great show last night on Esoteric Journey. If you missed it, you'll have to check out that new YouTube channel to be able to see that. Of course, you guys are already on that new YouTube channel. I'd like to take the opportunity to ask you please to consider subscribing to this video and hitting a thumbs up and actually putting in some comments. That if you were to do all three of those things, it might help this second channel pick up some juice. So, Tides of Truth. Shoot, I was here to crush. Yeah, it's to win is not needing to win. There you go, Johnny B. There you go. To win is not needing to win. We're here to become stainless. That's so much more important, and it's happening. So, yeah. I'm sure we'll do a show tomorrow night. We've been doing this high magic thing on Saturday. I say sure, but if Sark's not coming, I'm not doing it. If Eric's not coming, I need those guys because they're like they're really important. But if they're up for it, we'll definitely do that. And I think I'll probably end up. The reason why I don't normally do a show on Friday is just because Iron Rail Media does does their show, and I really love those guys. Sometimes I really want to do a show, but they're on too, so I might come right after it or something like that. But definitely tomorrow night. Definitely tomorrow night. Check it out. I say definitely, assuming that assuming that the gang's in. Okay, great. Sark just said he's in. So yeah, we'll do a high magic tomorrow night. So hope you guys can check that out. And look, when it comes to the politics of being down, just a little bit more business here. I don't think it's fair for you patrons that have been supporting a YouTube show to keep supporting a YouTube show when I've been kicked down. I've been knocked off that platform 5 times now since May. I just want you to know I think that that's beyond your beyond a good agreement for you. And I just want you to know, if I don't get a chance to say this, thank you so much for supporting that show. I'm actually having thoughts that it might be smart to just sort of not ever touch James True Live again. And I only say that because the other strike would then remove the channel altogether from it being viewable. And so I know that if at least until March 29th, there will be 2 strikes on there. And it's part of why I'm kind of thinking it might actually be smarter to just kind of not push that channel anymore right now, which deeply bums me out. But I hope that I've shown you that even though I've been thinking that, I'm still producing something every day. But it may turn into something different. It may turn into a radio format. It's getting harder for me to feel productive by keep pushing the video channel thing. And so I think if we were to flip like that, I think that the video show would still be here, but it might not be the like 3 times a week thing, that you see. It might be something more special. When I say special, I mean more like when I've prepared sometimes I'll integrate a lot of slides and whatnot. I'm saying that because the radio show might be a better avenue when it comes to being able to still stay. Well, I've never had iTunes say you have to take this episode down. I think that Spotify would probably do that, but I haven't been on them. But the podcast doesn't seem to have any issues with censorship. So I just want you to know that I get that. I've been trying to readjust some things on the Patreon. In fact, yesterday I posted something offering an intro to dojo class, and I actually was charging a fee for that. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. I pulled that because I think that it's putting a strain on our patrons now because they feel obligated to take that course, and that's not really what I meant to do. I believe in the system of dojo as an alchemical pranic individual thing, and we do dojo once a week now, and I think that dojo is kind of weak because there's a lot of new blood in there, and the new blood is being really pleasant with everybody. They're being really polite, and it's not that I don't like people being polite, but dojo is supposed to be a witness therapeutic session. It's actually pretty important what happens there. And it has to happen right away. It has to be in flow state as soon as it can. That if it doesn't, dojo doesn't work. And if it ends up being too pleasant or polite, it becomes even harder to dojo. So I thought that by starting the beginner course, that might be a way of kind of educating. But I'm starting to see how that felt to others seeing. Anyway, I pulled that course. I don't know what we're going to do right now, but I just want you to know I've been really considering trying different things because I don't know if it's really emotionally intelligent for me to go back to James True Live. I would love to. I freaking love doing that show. But it's really hard to convey to you just how long it takes for me to recover when it's taken down. It takes a couple seasons to try and kind of get back. And when it's happened 5 times in a row, it's just really, really gets expensive. It kind of adds up like that. So that's why I've been looking at different things. One of those would be audio. So I hope you hear this isn't me saying I'm quitting, but it is me trying to say, look, emotionally, I don't know if it's smart to do that. But if you were looking for someone to type in the comments, if you want to give me feedback on that, please do. But please know, I understand I could start another channel on YouTube. You're watching that right now. I understand you can appeal the strikes. We've been doing this a while. Been doing this since May. So, yeah, we're gonna figure it out. We already have. This sounds so self-serving, but I'm really proud of myself for streaming today. I think this that makes me feel like, yeah, it's gonna be fine. It is. And there's 102 people watching now. So there you go. I would love shortwave radio, Tides of Truth, man. So if I could get an FM, man, that'd be cool. I say FM because if I could have music, I could lose the video if I could have music, right? I would love to be able to get through to you guys with some music. I think that would be sweet. But music on AM, just awful, right? But it could be a talk show. And we got some good talks, man. You should have seen this last night. We were all talking, and then someone else was talking, and someone else was talking, and someone else was talking. It was freaking awesome. It was a really good show. So I definitely don't want to go anywhere. I'm just telling you that when I poke my head out of this hole, I'm getting bopped on the head. And I think there's a better place to poke something out of my hole. So, I just said that. I appreciate you guys' work. So thank you for being here. Thank you. Love you guys. Seriously. Those strikes are going to make you grow even stronger. They already are, Barfling. Thank you. You're right. Leave the main channel alone until the strikes are removed. That's what I'm thinking, Barfling. Maybe you push the radio element. And that way I could have a safe platform on the podcast network like that. And then no matter which one was bad, you had the other one maybe. And then we get to the ham radio so Thunder Chicken can tune in. I never miss the streams that get censored. I just can't watch them here. Yeah. It's some good vitriol, guys. It is. It's good. It's great vitriol, in fact. So I'm gonna sign off now, but we will check in later. Might even be pretty soon, in fact, since I can't go. Well, I don't know. I think you guys probably have enough of me already. I'm gonna call Melanie. That's what I'm gonna do. She wants me to call her. James, is this the best job you've ever had? I would say it's really, 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 really right up there. And I don't mean that to discount it, by the way. So just so you know, I think that the most rewarding career that I've ever had actually involves food. There is something chronically rewarding. I was a sous chef for a while in college. Just dabbled in other people's restaurants. I really love that kind of reward. When you are feeding someone and it is art, that is just, it's hard to not feel satisfied from that. It's just really hard. I know that restaurant business is like one of the hardest things to do, but I also understand why it is. There's just something about those tangibilities that work. The campfires that we have are easily right there with it. But the campfires I don't really see. So it's part of my work, but it's not really. It's more of like an opportunity where I'm not working. So it's kind of a weird sideways way of answering it, but that's kind of what I mean. Writing books feels really great. It feels really good when someone knows my characters, things like that. But that's sort of the same as food, right? When you're cooking something for someone and they appreciate it, it's just the pranic exchange is just so tangible there. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know a lot of people that have abandoned their old world to go be a chef. I think people know intrinsically what they're after, and what they get when they get there. There are now more people watching, right as I said I was going to leave. It's supposed to be less. But it could be the time is wrong, guys. It could be I'm supposed to be streaming later. It really could have been. It could be that I'm supposed to be streaming later. You would have found profound insights only if you read a leaflet, James. Good to see you, Mo. Man, I wish I spoke German more, because you guys, Mephisto does some awesome streams. Some of them are in English, by the way. But when he's in German, you can see the passion there, and it's really cool stuff. So, all right. I'm going to pass it on to a child endangerment session here with a girl and a horse. And, yeah. Love you guys. Use this... I love the radio shows. Seldom watch, only listen. I stare at. Yeah, exactly. I like the idea that people aren't staring at the screen too. That's kind of why I like it, because people can still be productive, right? You can still be doing something. You could be painting. You could be working on something with your hands, right? And still listen. That's why I don't see the radio thing as like a downgrade. Honestly, it could be the blessing that we needed. So, yeah. Love you two guys, and yeah. I'm going to call Melanie, do some books, and then maybe we'll stream later. We'll see. Tell me in Telegram if you want. But actually, tell me in the comments in this. That's what I need. If you don't mind, hit like, hit subscribe, put something in the comments. That'd be really helpful. I'm talking about the comments after the video. You kind of have to wait. I know it's a pain in the ass, but that might help. I'm really going now. Bye, guys. Thanks.